Okay, let's dive deep into the world of Pilates, specifically focusing on the mat practice, based on the sources you've shared with us.
Yeah, let's do it. We're here to unpack these materials, really pull out the most important insights for you.
Exactly. Our mission today, you could say, is to give you a really clear picture of what mat Pilates is all about.
Why it's seen as so effective and sort of what you might expect if you decided to bring it into your routine.
Absolutely. Think of it as getting the essential knowledge, the real core stuff, without having to sift through everything yourself. We'll look at where it came from, break down its fundamental ideas, the secrets behind why it works so well.
And explore that incredible range of benefits too. Plus, tackle some of the common misunderstandings you hear.
Yeah, and maybe even touch on what some of the classic moves actually look like.
Get ready to see how this practice, which often just uses your body and a mat, can offer some, pretty profound physical and mental shifts.
So where does it all begin? We really have to start with the founder, Joseph Pilates.
Right. The sources tell us he was a German physical education expert, and he developed his whole method back in the early 20th century.
And the context here is just fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. He actually started formalizing his ideas while he was interned off the coast of England during World War I.
Wow, intern.
Yeah, imagine that, creating a complete physical conditioning system. Basically, in an internment camp, he was leading exercises for the other inmates.
That says so much about the method itself, focusing on fundamentals, adaptable, minimal equipment needed.
Exactly. It's a pretty powerful origin story, and he brought that resilient approach with him when he moved to the U.S. in the, 1920s.
That's right. And there he refined his work with Claire Zoyner, and they opened their studio in New York City.
And his early clients, famously, were dancers. They were looking for ways to recover from injuries, enhance performance.
Which really highlights that precision and control element right from the very beginning.
Totally. But of course, the benefits quickly spread beyond dancers, which is why it's so popular with, pretty much everyone today.
And the original name he gave his method.
Yes. Contrology.
That one word just tells you so much about the whole practice, doesn't it?
It really does, and it's kind of the perfect bridge to understanding what mat Pilates actually is.
Okay, so based on your sources, how do we define it?
Well, at its heart, it's a low-impact whole-body exercise system.
And crucially, the mat version is done, on the floor.
Yeah.
You're primarily using gravity and your own body weight for the resistance.
Right. No fancy machines required, which is a big part of why it's so accessible.
So it involves a specific series of movements, quite precise movements, often done in a particular order.
Exactly. Think of it less like just doing random exercises and more like choreographed, really dimensional patterns of movement.
And connecting back to that contrology idea, the key elements the sources point to are things like intentional movement, deep concentration,
controlled breathing, deliberate muscle engagement, and balance. It's a very mindful way to exercise.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And this is a really key insight, I think. While the moves might look simple sometimes, maybe even deceptively so,
Right.
they demand significant precision, control, and a deep, deep focus on technique. It's actually incredibly challenging work, even if you're not dripping sweat or lifting heavy things.
It works you from the inside out, you might say.
That's a great way to put it. Which brings us to where it gets really interesting, the foundational principles. These aren't just rules. They're kind of the engine of why Pilates works.
The pillars holding the whole thing up.
Yeah, exactly. And the absolute core of it all is, the core, meaning the center of your body, your trunk, where all movement really originates from.
And mat Pilates relentlessly focuses on strengthening those deep trunk muscles, right? To provide stability and support for your whole body.
It's like building a strong foundation for a house. You need that stability.
Okay, so core strength is number one.
Yeah.
Then there's breathing.
Yes. And this isn't just, casual breathing. It's very controlled, dynamic, and it's synchronized with the movements you're doing.
And the sources really emphasize how powerful this is. It helps improve lung capacity.
Stimulates those feel-good hormones, boosts circulation, and it can even reduce stress by helping your nervous system sort of downregulate, calm down.
I think one source even mentioned it could be beneficial in preparing for labor.
It did, yeah. Which shows how fundamental that breath control is.
Okay, and essential for that control is concentration and the mind-body connection.
Absolutely. Pilates is a practice that demands intense presence. It really enhances your body awareness, what's sometimes called proprioception.
It's your internal sense of where your body is in space.
Exactly. And this heightened sensitivity can help you avoid injury. Maybe even listen better to your body's signals, like hunger cues, and just stay truly focused on the movement itself.
And that focus feeds right into the next principles, control and precision.
Right. Every single movement is meant to be intentional, controlled, exact. It's not about banging out reps quickly.
It's about how well you do each one.
Precisely. That precision is what makes it so different and so effective for engaging those deep muscles.
Then there's alignment.
Another critical piece, it's all about making sure your body is optimally positioned, head to toe, promoting ideal range of motion in the joints, creating balance between opposing muscle groups.
Good alignment just helps everything function better and prevents strain. Makes sense.
And finally, there's flow. Ideally, the exercises are performed with smooth, continuous transitions, linking one movement seamlessly into the next.
Creates a sense of grace, efficiency, makes the whole practice feel cohesive.
Yeah, it's not just a collection of separate moves.
Okay, so with those powerful principles in mind, what happens when you actually practice this stuff consistently on the mat? Your sources list a ton of benefits.
They really do. Let's try and group some of the big ones. Physically, you're building serious strength and structure.
Yeah, huge increases in core strength.
Yeah.
Which is foundational for, almost everything, better balance, relieving back and hip pain.
And it's key for pelvic floor health, too, which is so important.
And posture. The sources say big improvements there.
Yeah, definitely. By strengthening and lengthening the muscles that support your spine and just making you more aware of how you hold yourself, it helps you stand taller, move with more ease.
And it actively works against back pain by engaging those deep, stabilizing muscles, like an internal corset or brace.
Exactly. There's also potential for bone density benefits, though the sources are careful to say more research is ongoing there.
Okay. What about movement quality?
You'll definitely gain flexibility and mobility. It's about finding that balance between strength and stretch, not just one or the other.
Functional flexibility.
Right, and that core work translates directly into better balance and coordination, which is, helpful at any age.
It's also flagged as a powerful tool for injury prevention and recovery.
Yeah, by balancing out muscle development and building strength that supports your joints dynamically, it can lower injury risk in sports and other activities.
And the sources highlight its role in recovery, too. It can be carefully tailored for post-surgery rehab, like after breast cancer treatment, or for managing chronic stuff like low back pain or arthritis.
But the key caveat, always, is check with your doctor first. That's crucial.
Always. Now, a really compelling benefit that came up was for postpartum recovery.
Yes, this seemed really significant. With clearance from a healthcare provider and, importantly, a qualified instructor, Pilates can be, transformative postpartum.
The sources specifically mention things like decreased fatigue, a much stronger pelvic floor,
which helps with issues like incontinence and can even improve sexual health.
Improved recovery from diastasis recti, better posture, less back pain, and just overall improved well-being and confidence for new moms.
They even list specific gentle exercises that are good postpartum, like pelvic tilts, gentle bridges, modified planks, cat-cow. It just shows how adaptable it is.
That's great. Beyond recovery, it seems to boost performance and energy levels, too.
Yeah, athletes can see improvements in things like speed, power, range of motion, core strength, obviously.
And because it's low impact, but still boosts circulation and oxygen flow, it tends to increase your energy rather than totally draining you.
Right, you often feel invigorated afterwards, not depleted.
And we absolutely cannot overlook the mental and emotional well-being aspects.
No way. This practice isn't just physical. It actively helps decrease stress by calming the nervous system.
Boosts mood through endorphins, helps reduce anxiety, fatigue, even depressive symptoms.
It can improve sleep quality too, especially mentioned for younger adults in one source.
Your sources also pointed to improved cognitive function, better thinking, memory, learning.
Yeah, executive function, and even motivation, interestingly.
Plus some maybe surprising benefits, like potential reduction in menstrual pain.
And improvements in sex life, likely due to that combination of endurance, strength, mobility, flexibility, and again, that pelvic floor function.
And honestly, it encourages a bit of playfulness sometimes.
Totally. Exercises like rolling like a ball, they actually have an element of fun, which is important for sticking with anything, right?
Definitely need that fun factor. Right. Okay, now let's clear the air on some common assumptions or maybe myths you might hear about Pilates based on what your sources say.
Good idea. First off, this idea that it's just for dancers or, super flexible elite athlete types.
Totally false.
Completely false. It's genuinely suitable for pretty much everyone, regardless of your current fitness level, your age, your size. You just start where you are.
And while the movements might look controlled, maybe slow, don't mistake that for easy or not challenging.
Absolutely not. As we said, the precision and control required make it very demanding work. You'll feel it.
Also, this idea that mat Pilates is somehow inherently easier than using equipment like the reformer.
Yeah, not necessarily true. They offer different challenges and benefits. Mat work often requires more body control because you don't have the springs helping or resisting you in the same way.
Interesting point. Oh, and an anatomical one from the sources.
Yeah.
There's no specific lower ab muscle you could just isolate.
Right. Exercises that feel like they're targeting that area are actually working the entire core unit synergistically.
Good clarification.
Yep.
And what about weight loss?
Pilates can definitely support weight management by improving body composition, things like BMI, body fat percentage. But the sources are clear. For significant weight loss, it's most effective when it's part of a bigger picture.
Meaning combined with dietary changes and creating that calorie deficit.
Exactly. It's a piece of the puzzle, a very helpful piece, but not the whole solution on its own for weight loss specifically.
Okay. And finally, it's not just stretching, is it?
No, definitely not. It's about balancing strength with flexibility to improve functional mobility and overall body control. It's active, not just passive lengthening.
Okay, good distinctions. Now, Joseph Pilates actually developed a specific sequence for the traditional mat exercises, didn't he? Designed to build systematically.
He did. A classical order. Your sources mention several key examples you might come across in a class.
Yeah, they list things like the 100, the roll up, roll over, one leg circle, rolling like a ball.
Single leg stretch, double leg stretch, spine stretch, open leg rocker. Quite a few foundational moves.
And just to give a sense of how they embody the principles, the 100, that's a classic for building core endurance, stamina.
And coordinating that dynamic breath with movement really gets you warm.
And the roll-up, that's a fantastic challenge for your abs, but also great for spine articulation, right? Moving vertebra by vertebra.
Exactly. And things like rolling like a ball, while playful, are also deeply challenging for core control and massaging the spine.
And it's crucial to remember, modifications exist for pretty much every exercise.
Absolutely, to make them accessible. And some moves, especially the rolling ones, might not be suitable if you have certain back or neck issues. So always listen to your body.
And get guidance from a qualified instructor. Essential.
Always. So you might be wondering, how often should you actually roll out your mat?
Good question. For the best results, what do the sources suggest?
Generally, aiming for about 2 or 3 times a week seems to be the sweet spot noted.
Okay. And if you're thinking about starting, what are the key tips?
Pretty straightforward, actually. First, definitely talk to your doctor, especially if you have any underlying health concerns, if you're recovering from an injury or surgery, or if you're pregnant or postpartum.
Non-negotiable first step.
Right. Then, find a qualified instructor. That could be in person or through a reputable online source. Quality instruction matters.
And start slowly.
Yes, absolutely. Start slowly, focus on getting the technique right, building that foundational body awareness. That's how you avoid injury and really get the benefits.
And the real beauty of mat Pilates, as we mentioned, is how accessible it is.
Totally. You mostly just need a mat. Makes it super convenient for practicing at home. Even shorter sessions can be effective if time is tight.
It truly is a practice that can adapt to almost any fitness level.
So this deep dive really confirms that mat Pilates is far more than just doing some exercises on the floor.
Yeah, it's a powerful, really accessible system rooted in those key principles: control, concentration, breath.
And it offers such a comprehensive range of benefits impacting your physical structure, your movement, your recovery.
And deeply influencing your mental and emotional state, too.
It's a practice that really meets you where you are, and it can be modified to support just a huge variety of goals and needs.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Perhaps the most profound takeaway from digging into these sources is that mat Pilates builds, well, not just that visible physical strength and flexibility,
But also a kind of quiet, centered strength and awareness from within, a real sense of control and presence in your own body.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this.
Consider how cultivating that kind of internal control, that focused presence on the mat, how might that translate? How might that ripple out into handling the demands, the stresses, the opportunities of your everyday life off the mat? Something to think about.